I've spent over 5,000 hours building 220 PMU websites, so this is going to be a live audit of 5 sites where I reveal the 7 pillars that you need to have in your website right now to add literally thousands of dollars in revenue to your business every single month so you can hit 6 figures. So with that being said, let's just get straight into the video. So just an explainer on how this video is going to work. So basically the reason I'm making it is because most PMU artists are missing out on hundreds of bookings every single year, but they don't even realize it. And that's just because their websites are missing multiple, if not all of the 7 pillars that convert visitors into their site, like onto their site, into actual bookings. And I do just want to add there that it's not your fault if your site is actually missing those things, just because you are the PMU artist, you don't sign up to be a web dev and a marketer and a salesperson all in one. So that's why your site may be missing these things, but the truth is that if you do implement these 7 pillars, then your website will, stop losing thousands of dollars every single month and instead become a client getting machine. And you can finally start leveraging Google, which is literally the most powerful tool to actually get new PMU clients. So you can add an extra 10 to 20 new bookings every single month. So just, backing up why Google is, one of the most powerful ways to get PMU clients. And that's because over 87% of local beauty service bookings start with Google search. So that's 87%. So think of like all the time that you're spending like posting on Instagram or like running like Facebook ads or other stuff, that isn't to do with Google. And you're only targeting like that 13% of where beauty bookings actually happen, because 87%, that's almost like 9 every 10 bookings will start with a Google search. So if like your presence on Google, if you're missing one of these 7 pillars, then you're basically missing out on, 9 in 10 bookings. So you're basically getting 1 in 10 bookings of the 9 in 10 that you could actually have, just, based on that figure. So if you ever said that my website, doesn't really get me clients or doesn't really get me that many, then this video will show you exactly why that is, because it's because you're missing, one of those 7 pillars that I'm about to show you, and and how to actually fix it so you can start profiting. So in terms of the 7 pillars and what they actually are, so first one is having real photos, so like real before and afters on the homepage. And so while you may have some on like the services page or like where you actually talk about the different treatments, having them on the homepage just because it's the first thing that potential clients see when they land on your website is literally so important. I can't even, that's why it's first. I can't even like explain to you how important it is, but it's absolutely crucial. And then the second pillar is having a clear call to action. So basically what that means is just having multiple book buttons across the page just to make it really easy for that potential client to actually book in with you. And then the third one is having social proof. So that's like real, like reviews that look actually real, and then certifications displayed. And then there's objection handling. So basically what that means is just having, FAQs on your website. And then clear branding. So like non-overwhelming design and just clear branding. And then mobile optimization, because like 80% of people going onto your website will be on their phone, and then showing your USPs on there. So like, why should they actually choose you? Because if someone's searching on Google, they're going to see at least 10 different options in the search. So, you need to have your USPs on there to tell them, why should they pick you and not others. So yeah, let's just dive straight into the audit. So I'll just open up the first website here, and then I'll have these 7 pillars on the side. So I can go through the websites and show which pillars are missing, so then you can actually see it in like a real life example and then know exactly what to add to your own website. Okay, so here we have the first website and we have the 7 pillars on the side. So, okay, so we have the first section here that when someone lands on the page, this is what they see. So the first thing I'd say is it seems like there's meant to be some logos here on like where they're actually rated 5 stars, which would be great if those were actually visible, but just because they're not, it just means that social proof is missing. So I mean, I'm sure they meant to put like Google, maybe Yale, and like Facebook there, but those are missing, so it looks kind of fake. Basically, I'm sure it's not. And then the second thing is not having real photos here. So I would recommend having before and afters here instead of having these like generic photos, just because those build way more trust. And if you had those in the first section, which is something I do with my own clients, like for example here, that's obviously a real photo, and just having that one photo compared to like a couple like sort of generic photos that kind of, they're not like totally real, then like that's a difference in getting a lot of bookings from the website, like 10 to 20 every single month, and zero frankly. So I would recommend adding a real photos on the homepage. That's something I definitely recommend. So especially in the first section. And then we do get some actual photos here, but yeah, really I'd recommend having them in the first section because that's what people are going to look at. And if they don't see that in the first section, they're just going to leave straight away. And that's what I found, spending thousands of hours like actually making these websites and seeing what works. So yeah. And then we have some book now buttons. So there is a clear way to book. I would say that's good. So we definitely do have a clear call to action. And in terms of social proof, so we do have some real before and afters here, which is good. But like I said, putting those in the first section would be, it would just basically work a lot better for them. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we do have we do have 3 testimonials here. I would recommend adding at least 10, but 3 is okay. And then we do have some pictures here. Yep, I would say we do have reviews here, so that's good. That's a very good start. Okay, so now let's see. In terms of branding, so we do have this blue color and this white, sort of white-ish color, maybe off-white, which is great. But then I would say that this orange, it doesn't. I would say in terms of actual branding, it doesn't work that well together. So in terms of branding, maybe making that blue again, or even white, depending on what background color the section is, would work a bit better just to give it that more luxury feel. So I would say I could have some improvement. And in terms of USPs, so now this is actually loaded in. Maybe it just took a while to load in. I'm not sure why. But I suppose that is a USP, just having 5-star reviews. And then if I go over to artist training, oh, okay, so that's just in terms of training. Maybe on the about. Okay, yeah, this is solid. 80 plus, 5-star reviews, 1,300. That's considerable, so that's good. Yeah, USPs are there, so that's good. That's a good example of having USPs. Now mobile optimization. So to check that, I can just go on the mobile simulator here, which you can do by pressing F12 on your keyboard and just see what it would actually look like, or just go on your phone and search up your website. So mobile optimization is okay. I would. Mm, it's simple enough at the top. Like this is a great menu. It's not overwhelming. Um, and then this is all fine down here. But just in the first section, the first thing I would do is I'd recommend. Let me show you an example. Um, I'd recommend making the first section fill up the whole page just to space it out a bit more and basically just make it a bit more simple to consume and actually read for that potential client actually reading it. Like an example here for my client. So that's just what I'd say. And it could be quite similar just because there's both that background picture with the before, with the after, and then it could be quite similar. So I'd recommend actually just if this person was watching that, actually just lay it out a bit like that. And this obviously performs really well. So I would recommend doing that. But yeah, that is it in terms of the first audit. So I would recommend if you can, like apply these to your own example, just because I'm like these 5 websites that I'm going to be auditing, they're all going to have, somewhat similar mistakes. So this is just a really big opportunity for you watching to actually apply them and change them. Obviously, I'm going to be showing you more examples of what a high performing website would actually look like. But just because most PMU artists, this is something that they're missing out, maybe because they haven't been like taught in terms of like how important it actually is. So I would really recommend applying this. So you can really make use, you can get an edge over your competition and take the bookings that they're not really focusing on, which is 87% of where the actual bookings are actually coming from. Okay, so now going into the second audit. So the second audit, so we have APM Lab. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I'd say is just in terms of the branding. So, I mean, I would say that the colors are fine, like black and white is fine, that works. But it's just the branding is kind of off, just in the sense that there's a usually the standard layout of a website is having the menu right at the top with the logo, maybe a book button as well, kind of like this with the book button and the logo. Um, and then having a headline and the image. So it's great that there are real images, so that's something that you can definitely tick off just because there is a real image there. But just the layout, it kind of puts the branding off a bit, which means it is losing out on bookings. So that is something I would recommend adding, and just basically shifting this right up to the top with the logo on the left, and then putting this image like kind of like this. So having a headline on the left, menu up there, and this is something for my clients as well, and then putting that image that she has right there, just putting that image just like to the right side, basically. That's what I recommend. And then in terms of a clear call to action, so there is a free consultation button there, which is great. And there is a book appointment there. So I would say that it could be a bit clearer, maybe just having another button there and like another one there. That would be even better, but I suppose there is an actual button to book, which is good. And then social proof, so any reviews. Okay, so we do have video testimonials, which work really well as well. If you don't have like, if you don't want to put your reviews on there, and you do have video testimonials instead, those can even be more effective. So that is good that there are, yeah, there are reviews there, so that's great. So yeah, we can take that off. And then objection handling, so some FAQs. Seems like there aren't any FAQs. I would say that that's quite a big missed opportunity just because obviously a potential client, getting a tattoo on their face, obviously it's a big deal. They're going to have some doubts, especially like to do with pain, even like cost as well. And even like what style they're actually going to get when they do get their brows done. So there are quite a lot of doubts. So having those FAQs, that increases conversions as well massively. So I would recommend adding that in. And then in terms of USPs, let's see. So 2 years experience. Oh, this is that's a hiring um that's a hiring section. Okay. So there aren't any USPs either, so that's also a big missed opportunity just because if you don't put USPs on the page, then people aren't really gonna like they're not gonna know how you're different to competitors. So I mean there's no like reason for them to pick you over a competitor, so they might as well just go to a competitor and spend money with them, and then you're missing out on like thousands that way. So I would really recommend putting USPs, and you can do things like years of experience you do, how many treatments you've done, how many 5-star reviews you've got, certifications you have. So those are just a couple of examples, or whether you won any awards, you can put that on there as well. So that's a really big deal in terms of getting bookings. And in terms of mobile optimization, so it's not too bad. I would recommend having less text. Like the text in paragraphs like that, it's a bit hard to consume just because it's that long and people aren't really gonna end up reading it. And then yeah, again, just the layout is a bit, it's just not optimized for how people usually have a website, just in terms of like having the menu down there below the image. Um, but yeah, there are some good images throughout the page, which is good to see. But yeah, I would recommend just having that menu above. Um, yeah, just kind of like this. So, you have the logo there, then you can have the image in the background if you want. But yeah, this is more of a standard layout that you should consider. Okay, so that's it for the second audit. So now moving on to the third audit. So let's see if there's any real before and afters directly on the homepage, because I'm sure there is a portfolio page, but having it on the homepage is so important. Um, Okay, so no before and afters on the homepage, so that's definitely a big missed opportunity. But in terms of a clear call to action on the homepage, so we do have learn more, and we do have a book now. Yep, I would say that that's sufficient. And then in terms of social proof, okay, so we do have some real looking reviews here. Yeah, this is very good. That's how I'd recommend you do it. So social proof, we do have that. Any FAQs on the website, financing, pricing, services. Let's see if there's any FAQs just in general here. So no, that's definitely a big missed opportunity, and I think that way too many PMU artists are missing out these FAQs. Just because, for example, when I implemented it across my clients, conversions increased 10%, which is a pretty big jump considering what you're doing is adding FAQs. So I would really recommend that you do that. And then in terms of branding, so I'd say the branding is pretty solid. Obviously, I guess they have this black color scheme, which I mean, it's not my personal favorite, but that doesn't really matter, I suppose. In terms of consistent branding, I would say it's there. I would recommend going for maybe a white background instead of this black, just because yeah, I would say that it doesn't look the cleanest, but I suppose that's okay. Um, okay, so now mobile optimization, let's check it out. Yeah, I would say this is the best I've seen so far in terms of mobile optimization, just so the first section does fill up the whole page. Like I said before, kind of like, let me show you an example here. See how like the first section fills up the whole page. So that's something solid that they've done. So yeah, and USPs shown. So let's see. So there aren't any USPs on the first page, which is I would say that's a shame. There is like highly trained and specialized in, but that's sort of generic, and that's something anyone can say that even if it's a like first day after having trained in like microblading, anyone can really say that. So I'm sure that this clinic does have a lot more credibility that it can stack. Like for example, a USP for my client, I did Surrey's #1 permanent brow expert specialist for mature skin. Okay, so now moving on to the fourth. So let me just put that there. There we go. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so we have Heavenly Brows. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the first thing I'd say is this is probably the best branding I've seen so far. Just because it's got like quite a clean feel and simple, and then I guess the gold is always a nice touch. I would say that the bulk buttons they're a bit on the tackier side if I have to be honest. Um, so yeah, I would say if those could just be gold, that would be great. But I would say the branding's okay. And then mobile optimization, let's check. Um, um, yeah, again, I would say to make this the first section, like fill up the whole page, like I said before. So I would say the mobile optimization could definitely be improved. And then USPs. So no USPs on the page. We do have real before and afters on the homepage, but yeah, not having any USPs it's a really big like deal breaker just because yeah, like I said before, someone's gonna land the page, they won't know why to pick you specifically, and then they're not really gonna pay what you're worth, or they're not gonna want to pay what you're worth. And then you're not really gonna get their booking. They're just gonna go to someone else just because they don't see the reason to pick you. So yeah, definitely USPs on there. Objection handling. So let's see if there's any FAQs. Okay, so there are FAQs. Um, yeah, I would say that's solid in terms of FAQs. Something else that you can consider is having a video where you actually answer the most common questions, and just because nobody else is really doing that, like that's something I do with my clients, just because nobody else is doing it, and then they can get that other edge, and which is really important, like 23/5, when PMU is more saturated than ever, just having that edge over the competition, doing things that they aren't to build more trust. Obviously, you're gonna get more bookings. Um, so yeah, objection handling and then click call to action. We did have that on the homepage, even if the buttons were a bit on the tacky side, like I said. Social proof. So there are some reviews, but I would just say with these reviews, obviously I'm sure they are real. They do look a bit on the faker side, just because anyone could type that up and then put their name. There's not really like a Google logo that's there to like verify it. So if I show you an example from my client, let's make that full screen again. So for example, here are the reviews that I did, and this is something that you can do on your own website. So having those like 5-star icon in it first of all, and then the actual logo where the review is from, and then the name and a picture of the person that left the review. And then you have the headline, and then you have the actual text of the review, and that builds a lot more trust compared to just having the review typed out, which it doesn't look that real to the person actually reading it, and that's what we want. But yeah, that's it in terms of the fourth website. So now moving on to the fifth. Okay, so here we have the final website of the audit. That looks like a real photo in the first section. But let's see if there's any before and afters. Okay, so we do have some. So that's good. That's good to see. So yeah, we can take that off. Catch up on the blog. I wouldn't recommend having that as a button, just because I mean, if we're being honest here, if someone's searching up like microblading Orlando, like they're ready to book right now, they're not really looking to read the blog. I would recommend just doing a button like book my free consultation, book my free like permanent makeup consultation, or yeah, especially because I mean, they do offer some paramedical as well. You could just do book my free permanent makeup consultation or like cosmetic tattooing consultation, something like that. That's what you could do. Um, and then in terms of a USP, okay, so why us? Tens of years of experience. Yeah, I would say this is a good section to have, just because they directly call it out, and then tens of years of experience. That's solid. So in terms of USB shown, that's good. And now let's check mobile optimization. Okay, so yeah, I would say this first section, which is the most important section, because when someone lands on your website, they're going to be there for about 3 seconds before they either decide to scroll on and read more about you and actually book, or whether they just decide to leave. So in those 3 seconds, that's why the first section has to be, basically really good, to put it simply. And so not really being able to read the headline and then having catch up on the blog, and then this image that doesn't really load completely in the background, and then having another image on top is really not ideal. It's a bit overwhelming, and it doesn't really tell them, why they should choose you. Like for example, if we go back to my client over here, like we have, why she's unique. We have like the benefit of booking. In this case, it's just focus on browse. But you obviously could do it, like natural looking permanent makeup and just make it more general in that way. So we have like the benefit of booking, why they should choose this artist, and then like an actual before and after, and then some more benefits here, and then a book button. So that's really how I'd recommend structuring that first section to obviously get more bookings and to get people to stay on the site for longer, because you want them to stay on the site for about a minute and a half, then to actually make that decision to book a consultation with you. Whereas if they're just going to land on this, then you're probably going to get a lot of visitors just leaving instantly without really reading more about you, and like, you know actually like reading the stuff that you put in effort to write like further down the page. So that's quite a big missed opportunity. So mobile optimization could use some improvement, and same with branding, just because that kind of goes hand in hand. But in terms of objection handling, let's see. Go back to full screen. So no objection handling either. So that's also a big missed opportunity. And then social proof. Let's see if there are any reviews. So okay. So here we do have some objection handling specifically focused on paramedical, which is great. I would recommend adding one for permanent makeup as well. That would really help. And we do have some reviews, but right at the bottom. So these are they this is the good way of laying out reviews, having the Google logo and obviously the name and everything. That's good, but I wouldn't recommend putting them as the last section. Like for example, with my clients, I put them in so that's the first, obviously, second, third, fourth, just because, and then first, second, third. So in the third or fourth position, just because the reviews are very important, and you don't want to put them too far down. So you do want to keep them basically up higher and not in the last section. So that's what I recommend. Um, but yeah, that is it in terms of the audits. That's the 5 websites audited. So if these audits, maybe they open your eyes to like a couple of things that you may be missing on your own website. So I will say that even picking like 2 or 3 pillars could add like thousands of revenue, to your business just this month. So just because in your area, especially if you live in a larger like MSA in the USA, there are probably like thousands or like hundreds of thousands people in your area like searching for your services, and probably searching for your services and then actually clicking onto your website every single month. So not optimizing it for all of those people who are ready to book and searching for you is a really big missed opportunity. So that's why I'd recommend taking action on this now. But if you'd like me to audit your own site so you can get a list of like actionable changes that you can make to like your actual own site from me auditing your actual site, then you can feel free to DM me website and I can do that for you for free, obviously. And then you can check out the free training below if you want to learn how to build a predictable and consistent PMU business where you just focus on being an artist. You can check out the free training below as well. And you can also DM me website and I can do that for you. But yeah, Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was valuable to you. I mean, let me know what pillars that you're missing from your own website. But if you do have all these 7 pillars, then you'll have a high converting website that brings in 10 to 20 bookings from just Google, depending on your ranking. Obviously, if you're first, that'll be even more. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye for now.